Good morning, everybody. This morning and this afternoon we are going to hear the evidence of Helen Steel. The evidence will be transmitted over the live link, but only after 15 minutes have elapsed. Those with mobile devices may use them for telling the outside world what they have heard, but only after 15 minutes have elapsed since the event that they're describing. They may not be used for recording or photography. There will be a small change in our usual periods of sitting. There will be 2 breaks in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, each of 10 minutes, I hope. And Ms. Steel, if at any stage you want a pause in the proceedings and a break, just say so and we'll have one.
Thank you.
May you be sworn, please. Thank you.
Please stand. Please repeat after me. I do solemnly,
I do solemnly,
sincerely and truly declare and affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Steel, please provide your full name.
Helen Marie Steel.
You provided a third witness statement to the inquiry dated the 8th of May 2026. Are you familiar with the contents of that statement?
Yes.
And can you confirm that the contents of that statement are true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Thank you. Starting first, Ms. Steel, just by way of background, London Greenpeace. This is the group meetings of which you attended when you met John Dines for the first time. We established in the Tranche 2 hearings that you started attending London Greenpeace meetings in late 1986, early 1987.
Yes.
And at that time you were 21 years old.
Yes.
You said that you were a pretty regular attendee from that point on until your attendance tailed off towards your leaving London in December 91. Then you stopped attending altogether until you moved back to London in 1993.
Yes.
You say, Ms. Steel, in your third witness statement that you met John Dines when he started attending London Greenpeace meetings in late 1987.
That's right.
His first report on London Greenpeace is dated the 27th of October 1987, but you say in your witness statement you think he started attending a few weeks before that.
Yes. I mean, I don't have a specific memory of the first meeting he attended, but my impression was he started a little bit sooner than that.
And providing just a little bit of context, in your Tranche 2 evidence, you described London Greenpeace as an eclectic mix of characters and issues. You said that the general meetings, the weekly meetings, were attended by about 10 to 15 people, and that the public meetings, which were monthly, were attended by about 20 to 30 people.
Yes.
You said that meetings involved discussion on a wide range of issues and campaigns run in a largely non-sectarian way, with individuals free to support campaigns and protests they like rather than toe a party line.
Yes, that was what I liked about the group.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you say that discussions and campaigns range from environmental issues, peace and anti-nuclear protests, anti-capitalist protests, campaigns against racism and sexism, justice campaigns, workplace struggles. You said that animal rights was just one of many campaigns and definitely not the be-all and end-all of the group at the time you were involved.
Yes.
You also said that London Greenpeace was involved in campaigning for gay rights and supported the campaign against Clause 28.
Yes.
So a wide range of issues.
Yeah.
How old were you, Ms. Steel, when John Dines started attending the meetings?
I was 22.
What did Dines tell you about himself when you first came across him?
He said he was from New Zealand. Well, it's hard to remember exactly what he told me at which particular point, but essentially he was he was born in the UK but had moved to New Zealand as a child, and then had moved back. And he said initially he was living in a camper van on the South Bank, and then I think all his possessions were stolen or something.
Right.
He said he was, I remember I thought he was 5 years older than me, whereas in fact he was 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
I subsequently found out.
Right. So you thought he was 27,
Yes,
and in fact he was 32.
yes.
You say in your witness statement that when he first attended London Greenpeace meetings, thereafter he started to attend pretty regularly,
Yes.
so weekly.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to say that he turned up every single week, but yeah.
Norman Blair, in his witness statement at paragraph 3.25, described him as being overtly friendly and a bit of a tough guy, but useful at fixing stuff, and he had a van. Do you agree with that description?
He was certainly friendly, yes, and I mean, I don't think I knew he was useful at fixing stuff until later on.
Right.
Okay. That wasn't my initial impression. Sure. But he would offer to drive people home from the meetings in a way that seemed helpful at the time,
Sure.
but actually subsequently, we realised he was doing that in order to find out where we all lived.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not going to go into great detail today about the activities he participated in, but just as a general point, he presented himself as someone who was keen to get involved in the group's campaigning activities. Is that accurate?
Yes, I mean, he got very actively involved in the group's campaign against the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. He was one of a small subgroup of people that prepared a leaflet on the subject and organised protests. We picketed the Bank of England,
Yeah.
and on one occasion we occupied the World Bank as well at his suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll look at that. I'll come to that in due course. This quote is taken from DCI HN86's request for John Dines to receive a commendation. And he says the reference, I won't bring it up, but the reference is MPS 07269664, it's page 10. He, in that, claims that John Dines presented as a street-hardened activist to whom criminal activity is the main means of income. Is that how he presented?
No, at the time, I mean, later on he talked about being arrested on the protests in New Zealand against the South African rugby tour. But I don't think that came up initially. But no, he talked about working as a kitchen fitter, and then working as on building work and on roofs.
Right. Moving now, Miss Steel, to...
Oh, and before I forget, sorry,
No,
in terms of his involvement in London Greenpeace, he also became the treasurer.
Right, yes.
And he regularly also attended sessions like answering letters, and he was very, very actively involved with the group.
Yeah, and actually you've helpfully disclosed some of the meeting notes from the McDonald's private investigators, which show him in those letter answering sessions, which we'll come to.
Yes.
Moving now, Miss Steel, to how your friendship developed. You say in your witness statement that you attended a number of protests and also social events with Mr. Dines, and you say that you recall on at least two occasions, August 1988, and I imagine probably August 89, when the grouse shooting season took place, that you attended SABs of grouse shoots with him in the north of England.
Yes, he volunteered to drive people up to the north of England to take part in the sabbing the grouse shoot.
And you say that the nature of that activity meant that you spent lots of time together. The activists would spend
Yes.
lots of time together and would stay overnight.
Yes. I mean, you had the whole journey up there where you're all chatting and then, you're all spending the night together in, like, sleeping bags in a room. So,
Sure.
people are up late chatting. And,
Yeah, so it's like a bonding
Yeah.
experience. I'd like to bring up Dines' report from that first grouse shoot. It's MPS 0743632. This is a report dated the 16th of August 1988. Paragraph 2 reads, throughout Thursday, the 11th of August, hunt saboteur groups from Aberystwyth, Bradford, Liverpool, London, Manchester and Nottingham gathered in Leeds in preparation for the sabotage of the start of the grouse shooting season on the following day. Then paragraph 3, please. Leeds-based hunt saboteurs, who are mainly students at the local university, provided accommodation for many of the 75 anti-hunt supporters who had travelled to the north of England for their annual protest against what they interpret as a cruel carnage on the moors. The coordination of the mass SAB fell upon the Hunt Saboteur Association committee members, then privacy redactions. So, Ms. Steel, that's a reference when he talks about providing local students providing accommodation to what you just referred to and in your witness statement when you say you would all sleep in sleeping bags on the floor of other people's houses.
Yeah. I'm not sure they were all students, but whatever, it doesn't really matter.
Yes, exactly. Helpful people. If he comments on your activities, Miss Steel, in paragraph 6. It's on page 3, please.
Yeah.
So it seems that what happens on this grouse shoot is there's a roadblock put in place and activists are prevented from leaving the butts. I'll read what he says. So paragraph 6, several hours of waiting near shooting butts. Oh, and I should say, sorry, that this is on the 13th of August that he's saying this is happening. Several hours of waiting near shooting butts on the Gunnerside estate proved to be too boring, too cold and too wet for many of the saboteurs, and at midday several attempted to leave by the moor, only to find their exit blocked by police. This action prevented activists moving to other areas of the moor to which shooters may have been heading. Most saboteurs were eventually drawn to the roadblock where, in the main, they peaceably protested about what they felt was their unlawful detention, in inverted commas. The most vociferous exchange between SABs and police involved the London-based anarchist activist Helen Steel. Her diatribe of abuse would normally have resulted in her arrest. However, on this occasion, police were more tolerant than necessary, and, perhaps to avoid any heightening of tensions amongst the now restricted saboteurs, they chose to ignore her taunts and abuse. Steel, however, later compiled copious notes concerning the incident and voiced her intention of laying a complaint against the police for unlawful detention. Her performance was videoed by fellow saboteur Privacy from Coventry. Would you like to comment on the accuracy of that account?
Yeah, no, it is completely inaccurate. Well, sorry, not completely inaccurate, but the diatribe of abuse is completely inaccurate. I challenged their behaviour because their behaviour was unlawful. They were essentially, they'd set up a roadblock, which actually, I don't know if it's possible to put up...
the article?
Newspaper article,
yeah, we can
if
bring
you
that up.
mind,
Yes, if we could bring up, please. It's UCPI 39888.
Yeah, so in this picture, that is John Dines on the right of the photograph.
Right, so looking off to the...
He's looking off to the
side.
Yeah. Can't work out which side it is.
Yeah, I know.
And what you see there is there's two police vehicles, basically nose to nose, with policemen between them.
Yeah.
And they were preventing us from leaving the moor.
Right.
They claimed that was to prevent a breach of the peace, but it was completely ludicrous. We were being detained on the moor. They had no right to do that, and so I was arguing strongly that they shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
And in fact, in terms of the reference, I did take copious notes,
Yep.
And I did liaise with the Hunt Saboteurs Association, and I know that some kind of complaint did go in. I didn't pursue it personally, but it was a kind of collective complaint from the Hunt Saboteurs Association about the unlawful detention on the moors.
Okay, thank you. If we could take that down, please. If we could just go back to the report 0743632 and paragraph 8 of that report, please. Thank you. So he refers here to the following day. So sorry, sorry if I've confused things. I think this is the 13th of August. The previous day was the 12th of August. So the following day, he says, saboteurs, which now included a group from West London, led by Privacy and Privacy, went to Crowden Moor in North Derbyshire. This moor was the only designated area for grouse shooting in the vicinity. Saboteurs occupied all the shooting butts from about 7 a.m. until 4 p.m, and their presence prevented any shooting taking place, if indeed any had been planned. Other than the destruction by saboteurs of signs indicating where shoots were to take place, the day passed off without incident. Most saboteurs departed from the moors satisfied that there had been no shooting during their 2-day presence, but frustrated at not citing and harassing and abusing shooters.
That's his interpretation. That's not. You know, the reason people were there were to stop grouse being shot. So
yeah,
people were happy that we'd succeeded.
You referred in your first witness statement, Ms. Steel, to dismantling some grouse shooting butts with dines.
Right.
Do you think it was on this occasion?
I don't think it was on that occasion, no.
Do you think it was the following year?
I am not sure.
Don't worry. That's fine. You can reflect on it, but if you can't recall,
Yeah.
you can't recall. Don't worry.
I don't think it was on a big event. I think it was on a smaller thing. But I might be wrong about that, actually. I don't have I actually have a photograph of the butt, which Dines is in, except that the only things showing are people's arms.
Right.
So you wouldn't be able to identify him, but I know that he's in that photo, and that's pretty much the only memory I've got of it.
Okay.
I can't remember where or when it was.
Could you, so the photo, you don't have a date for that photograph, for example?
No.
Okay.
No.
Never mind. After this event, we can take that down now. Thank you. So is it correct to say that after that, you were a little closer after that experience of the grouse shoot?
Well, our friendship was closer, yeah.
You say in your witness statement that your diary, after that grouse sab, records several social interactions with him outside the London Greenpeace meetings.
Yes.
And as examples of those, you cite going to the pub with him and others, Dines driving you home from the pub, inviting you round to his house for a meal, and to a party in a squat on Dunsmuir Road with other London Greenpeace activists.
Yes.
And you provide lots of illuminating exhibits regarding the types of activities you two undertook together or as part of a group in the late 1980s. I'd like to bring up a few of those.
Yeah.
So an example of you two participating in campaigning activity together, if we could bring up, please, UCPI 39883. I understand, Ms. Steel, that this is the Broadwater Farm demonstration of the 11th of December 1988. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a picket of Wormwood Scrubs in support of the Tottenham Three, who were cleared at the Court of Appeal later on.
Yeah. And I understand we looked at this in the because HN25 actually reported on this protest, I understand, and we looked at this in T2.
Mr. Morris has been privacy redacted on the left-hand side, but he's in the photo as well.
Okay, that's good to know. And is that John Dines there at the forefront?
On the right with the blue beanie on.
Yeah. Thank you, if we could take that down. If we could bring up, please, 39884, that's UCPI. I understand that this is a dinner outing from the 18th of January 1989. Is that accurate?
Yes. Well, if that's what it says in my statement, that'll be accurate
Yeah,
because I
that
did
is what it
look
says.
it up.
Yeah. And we can see that's John Dines, clearly.
With Paul Gravitt and Belinda Harvey.
Yeah.
And just to say in relation to this kind of illustrates Dines is pretending he didn't know anything about anybody else's relationships, and in fact he knew that Belinda had a relationship with Bob Lambert. She talked about it in his company on a number of occasions, and you know, as she said, she'd met them both together.
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask you, I mean, I understand at this remove it's difficult, but this dinner taking place on the 18th of January 1989, that's very soon after Bob Robinson apparently ran off
Yes.
to escape arrest. Can you recall, Miss Steel, any mention of that or discussion of that at this meal?
I couldn't say we specifically discussed that here. I'm quite sure that Belinda would have talked about missing Bob, but whether we'd have said anything about him being on the run, I don't know.
Fine. We can take that down now, please. And if we could bring up, please, UCPI 39885. Ms. Still, I understand that this was taken on the 9th of May 1989 at Frinton by Sea.
Yes.
Sorry.
So Dines had volunteered to take a group of us to the seaside for a day out, and that's Andrew Clark with him there. Andrew Clark was among the group who went to the seaside with him.
Right. Thank you. If we could take that down.
We just spent the day on the beach and then I think went to an amusement arcade or something like that.
So a nice, pleasant day.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a small group of friends.
Yeah. But it was at his instigation and kind of, as I say, he drove us all there.
Moving on now to a shift in your relationship. You say at paragraph 112 of your third witness statement, Ms. Still, that prior to your relationship with Mr. Dines becoming intimate in May 1990, that he targeted you and subjected you to a prolonged period of emotional manipulation in order to draw you closer to him and to make you invested in and feel responsible for his well-being, and also to make you believe that he cared about you and your well-being. I'd like to look at a few specific examples of that. You've already referred to it. You say at paragraph 105 that at some point he offered to drive people home after the meetings in his van. And you say this became a regular occurrence and continued for a long time. In Deep Deception, Miss Steele, it suggested that this started soon after he started attending the LGP meetings. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I don't think I could pin down now exactly when it started, but I think it wasn't long after he started coming to the meetings.
So, if I understand correctly, after the meetings, everyone would pile in and he would drop them all off door to door?
Yes. And most of the people that were in the group lived in Hackney, so he used to go via Hackney, drop everyone off, and then I'd be like the last person dropped off in Haringey.
I understand it's difficult to recall. Do you think he was living in Brixton at this stage?
No.
Right.
I think he was living in Hackney at this stage.
Okay, fine. Okay, so even though he lived in Hackney, he would drop the Hackney people off first and then you in Haringey.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that before, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, clearly his doing this, I imagine, gave you the impression of his being a very kind person.
Yeah, he seemed like he was just being helpful.
Yeah. You say that he would drop you off last, and because of that, the two of you would end up chatting.
Yeah.
So again, this fostered sort of a growing closeness between the two of you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember all the specific conversations, obviously, but we would just chat about how things were going in our lives, and I guess it just meant that it felt like the friendship was closer. So.
Sure. And we heard in T2, obviously, that Bob Lambert would drop Jackie off last after Hunt Sabbing.
Yes,
as well.
As I believe with other women as well. Alison, I think, has said the same.
So at this stage, just to reiterate, he told you he was 27, you were 22. Did you click with him?
I thought he was a good friend, yeah.
Yeah. At this stage, did he give you any indication that he was interested sexually?
I don't remember him doing or saying anything to that effect.
Right, so it was just platonic, friendly interaction. You say in your witness statement that looking back, you think actually he was trying to engineer a sexual relationship from quite early on.
Yes, well, that was when I heard Albert say about him monopolising my attention that time in the pub.
Yeah.
That made me feel, and Dines himself refers to it in one of his letters about buying me orange juice in the pub.
In the Eliza Doolittle. Well, let's look at that.
Yeah.
I think that's important. So Albert Beale, who was, I understand, was a regular at London Greenpeace for a period. He was asked about when you joined London Greenpeace, and he said this. He said, "I remember her early involvement with the group at the same time as I remember John Dines, the other undercover, getting involved in the group. I remember them both contemporaneously because of his, very quick personal interest in her and all the rest of it." And he went on, "I have one or two specific clear memories of John Dines. I can remember one at a pub after a London Greenpeace meeting. I think it was the pub on the Euston Road that was next to what used to be the Shaw Theatre there, opposite Mabledon Place. We'd been at a meeting at Ensley Street, I guess, not far around the corner. And I think it was at a time when Helen was fairly new to the group. I hadn't got to know her very well. She was quite... And my memory of that is that when Helen started coming to the meetings and when John Dines started coming to the meetings was around the same sort of time. And I just remember sitting in a pub one evening. I remember Helen. It was kind of all jammed up on a bench in the pub with half a dozen of us from a meeting. I do remember Helen was sitting next to me on one side, and every time I tried to talk to her, I discovered that Dines was sitting next to her on the other side and was kind of monopolising her attention a great deal. He was obviously, anyway, he was talking to her a lot and he was focusing on her a lot. And I just remember that because he was on the other side of Helen from me, and I didn't know Helen very well at that stage. I was going to ask some things, but I didn't get a word in, which is not like me. And as you point out, if we could bring up, please, UCPI 39786. This is a letter from Dines to you, dated the 27th of March, 1991. I'll read out the bit anyway, just while we're waiting for the document to come up. But he writes in this letter, "I was thinking that the Eliza Doolittle was where romance blossomed. Well, it sure did for me. All those orange juices I bought you. Gosh, you're an expensive woman." Do you recall this or these incidents in this pub, the Eliza Doolittle?
Well, I think I think I must have been a bit oblivious to it, to be honest. But
right.
Yeah, I can't say I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah, sure.
But I just don't have a memory of whether or not he bought me orange juices.
But to a third,
that was what I used to drink in those days. Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's problems bringing up that document. There's another document I'd like to bring up if that one's proving problematic. If we could try UCPI 39790. This is another Dines letter. sent on the 7th of May, 91. Again, I'll just read the contents while we're waiting for it to be brought up. A slight delay. On page 2, he says, "Nope, I never went to London Greenpeace to chat you up, but I did like you being there, even when you had the grumps. The nearest I could get to you in those days was buying you an orange juice. Little things mean so much, even to, in inverted commas, crotchety old buggers who are a bit thick." So it's clear there that he's acknowledging doing what Albert Beale observed.
Yeah.
Just in terms of dating when this happened, Miss Steel, you say in your witness statement at paragraph 106 that the Eliza Doolittle was a pub in Euston
Yeah.
that you'd go to after London Greenpeace meetings when they were held weekly in Ensley Street.
Yes.
And you say that was at the start of Dine's deployment.
Yes. Whatever it says in my statement, I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but whatever it says in my statement will be right, because I checked.
Okay, yeah, and I understand that the meetings moved from Caledonian Road in autumn 1989, so this must have been taking place somewhere between in that two-year period.
Yeah.
We've now got the exhibit up. If we could go over to the next, it's page 2, sorry, yes, the next page, please. And sorry, I'm just trying to find the relevant bit. No, yeah, this is the second one. So it's just in the second paragraph where he says, "I never went to London Greenpeace to chat you up, but I did like you being there, even when you had the grumps. The nearest I could get to you in those days was buying you an orange juice." I just wanted to ask you, actually, just as a discrete thing, his reference to who are a bit thick, there were a couple of references in the letters to him saying he's a bit thick, in inverted commas. Is that something that he had a thing about? Was that something that was said to him?
I think it came out of some, I can't actually remember what it was. It was some conversation where I may have, he wasn't getting something, and I probably shouldn't have said it. I can't quite remember, but it wasn't something that I would have regularly said, but I think it came out of a particular conversation. Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, in any event, we can take that down now. The point is that this focused attention was taking place in between autumn 87 and autumn 89, so early on in his deployment until moving into the middle period. Okay.
Can I just say, it was some kind of jokey comment, it wasn't intended as a...
Don't worry, it was just something I noticed. He refers to it a couple of times, and it seems like it landed in some way. I think it seems he might have had a bit of an issue with it. So, but anyway, it's not that significant.
I wouldn't remember it, but for the fact that it's in the letters,
sure.
So that's... But I can't remember what it was about.
Don't worry. Looking now, Miss Steel, into times when John Dines purported to take you into his confidence. You say this in your witness statement. You say, this is paragraph 112. "Prior to our relationship becoming intimate in May 1990, Dines targeted me and subjected me to a prolonged period of emotional manipulation in order to draw me closer to him." I've already quoted that bit. But looking at some of the examples of this emotional manipulation. So you set out in your witness statement that in December 1988, when you were 23, and he was actually 33, but pretending to be 28, you said that you were socialising with friends in a pub in Hackney around Christmas time when he pulled up a chair beside you and told you that his father had just died in New Zealand.
Yes.
So did he proffer this out of the blue?
Yes. I think I'd been playing pool with a few people and sat down at the table, and then he pulled up a chair beside me and just kind of told me this out of the blue. And obviously, you know, I felt sad for him. It was, I think it was actually like, I'd not really got any experience as an adult of dealing with someone who'd lost a parent. And I remember I was kind of stuck for words.
Yeah.
But yeah, I now know that it was false, that his father hadn't died. So that clearly there's no reason for bringing it up apart from to emotionally manipulate me.
Was he presenting as if he was distraught?
He was presenting as though he was upset. Distraught would probably be too strong, but he did seem upset by it.
Another example you provide, Ms. Steel, is in March 1989. You say that he fitted a countertop above the washing machine of the kitchen in your shared house.
Yes.
And he did this, if I understand correctly, unprompted.
He volunteered to do it,
Yep.
and it fitted at the time with the fact that he said he was a kitchen fitter, and I think he said he had some kind of off-cut of kitchen surface, and he would just come in and put this kitchen surface above our washing machine, which was quite handy because we didn't actually have anywhere to put dirty dishes. So, you know, I think all of us in the house kind of felt after that, oh, you know, nice guy, very helpful, and it increased our trust in him.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a very kind thing to do.
Yeah.
On the face of it.
Yeah.
In August 1989, you say that he gave you a birthday card with a greeting handwritten in Maori. I'd like to bring that up, please. It's UCPI, I think 37426. So, is this it, Ms. Steel?
That's it, yes.
Yeah. And if we could move to we can see that's a very attractive card. Has he stuck that on himself? Is that a handmade?
I don't know.
But it's lovely. It's a lovely thing. If we could move to the message. So it says here, this is in Maori. I understand at the time you didn't understand what this meant.
No.
But that you took it to a friend who translated it for you.
Yeah.
And they told you that it said, "Happy birthday to a good friend, love, John."
Yes.
And what was your reaction when you found out that's what it said?
I think I was a bit surprised and yeah, I don't know. Maybe a bit awkward.
Yeah, did you feel like he was laying it on a bit?
Yeah, maybe a bit. I think I wasn't quite sure what to make of it when I knew what it said.
But it gave you pause. You thought, actually, maybe
Yeah.
he's interested. Yeah. And I understand from your witness statement that you were breaking up with Andrew Clark at this stage.
Yes, around this time I was breaking up with... I know that it was at the beginning of August that I felt that I wanted to break up, but obviously quite often breakups are messy and long-winded, so...
Yeah. But you're not sure that John Dines knew about that at the time?
No, I don't think he would have. It's not... In general, I didn't talk about my private life to anybody, so he wouldn't have known, no.
Sure. Looking now, Miss Steel, at the grouse shoot in August 1989,
Yep.
you say of this at paragraph 116 of your third witness statement, you say around this time, Dines, who was living in the squat in Dunsmuir Road, drove you and a group of friends, and the group included Norman Blair and two of the men who also lived at Dunsmuir Road, up to Yorkshire for the annual grouse shoot SAB, and that he picked you up on the 13th of August and returned to London on the 17th of August, so a good few days away. I'd like to look at some photographs you've provided of that. So UCPI 39874. Oh, apologies, that's actually not the one I meant, but never mind, that's fine. We'll look at this one. So this is Dines.
Dines in the shorts, and people are just kind of mucking around on the moors.
Just larking around. I noticed the flat cap, so is that a sort of saboteur disguise?
I don't know about disguise. I mean, some people liked dressing up. I don't know, people have got different taste in clothes, haven't they? Yeah.
Okay. If we could bring up, please, 398... Okay. Oh, okay, sorry, I understand where the confusion's coming from. Okay, so there are several 39874s. If we could bring up, I think there's one that's 39874 14E. Does that assist? They were all exhibit HS366, and then there's a number. Oh, okay, fine. If we can just, we'll just scroll through the photos. Okay, apologies. I didn't quite understand how the exhibits worked. So there's another one we have. More larking around. To the next one, please. John Dines.
Yeah, lying on a rock.
Yeah.
I don't remember quite what was going on then. And then, yeah, they went for a swim.
Yeah.
Or dip, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's Dines with Norman in the back of the van, Dines' van.
Thank you. There's no reporting from Dines on this grouse shoot specifically.
Oh.
He does refer in a report, I'm not going to bring it up, we can look at it in due course, but there is a report dated the 22nd of August 89, which is UCPI 26790, where he refers to going on a recent visit to Leeds, but he doesn't say anything about a grouse shoot.
Right.
We'll explore that in greater detail.
This one here is Dines with all the shooting party.
Okay.
So that's, well, there might be a couple of Sabs in the background, but the people that are around him are the shooting party with their dogs.
And that's him there in the check shirt.
And the white shorts.
And the white shorts, yeah. Thank you. You say in your witness statement at paragraph 117 that after this grouse shoot Sab, Dines suggested that you all went to Yorkshire to visit some friends who had previously been involved in London Greenpeace and had then set up a small animal sanctuary on a small holding near Barnsley.
Yes.
So that was Dines' suggestion that you do that?
Yes.
If we could bring up, please, a photograph of your time there, which is 39889 UCPI. So if I understand correctly, Miss Steel, this is you all at the animal sanctuary. I can see there's a sheep.
Yes, it's having its hooves trimmed. I was about to say toenails, but that's not the right word, is it?
Sheep toenails, yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, a very pleasant scene. If we just bring up briefly, I think, Dines' report on this, which is UCPI 26793. This is dated the 30th of August 1989. Paragraph 3, Privacy, who now lives at Privacy with a varying number of expired politicos, maintains little contact with his former London Greenpeace allies and has made no attempt to become involved in the nearby Leeds anarchist community. And if we look at paragraph 4, a beneficiary of a sizable bequest to finance the purchase of an organic farm and an animal rescue has placed this one-time hunt saboteur, Animal Liberation Front supporter and anti-nuclear activist in an ideal situation which many of his former cohorts might secretly covet. Obviously the tone there is questionable. Would you like to comment, Ms. Steel, on paragraph 4, this idea that the cohorts might secretly covet this situation?
While we were there, I was very explicit in saying how much I liked it there and how I loved being in the countryside and with looking after the animals and, growing food. And, I talked openly about that. I wasn't... Certainly wasn't secret about it.
Yeah. Thank you. We can take that down. So I'm aware that now might be time for a pause.
I'm probably okay for now, but thank you.
All right, we'll continue then. We'll have one anyway in 15 minutes.
Okay.
That's right.
Yes.
Just say it. All
yes.
you need to do is say
that's
it.
Fine.
We'll
that's fine.
fit in with
Thank
you.
you.
Right.
I'd like to look at a car hire agreement now, please, which is dating from around this time. So this is at MPS 0731779. And this document shows, I'll point it out when it comes up, but this relates to, okay, so page 2, please. So this is a budget rental agreement for John Dines. We can see, well, the cover sheet shows that it was to do, I've done this in a cat-candid way. The cover sheet, you can see it is from the SDSDS, Chris Sutcliffe, and it says, we spoke re the hiring of a van by Barker while his vehicle was off the road. Please find the rental agreement copy given to him by budget. And then if we could look at the actual rental agreement on page 2. So here it is. We can see in the due back, it's in the middle column, about 2/3 down, 3/5 down. It says that it is due back on the 18th of August. And the rental was for 8 days. So it would appear that this is the van that he hired to take you all on that grouse shoot.
Yeah.
Were you with him when he filled out this form?
No, I wasn't. I didn't know about this until it was disclosed to me.
So we can see that in the local address section in that large box that it says Helen Steel, and that there's a telephone number there. I mean, there's a privacy box over it, but I presume you've seen under that privacy redaction.
Yes, that's my telephone number at the time at Linden Road.
So he didn't ask your permission to put your details on this form?
No.
So this came as a complete surprise to you?
Yes.
Is it fair to say the fact that he knew your number and put it on the form, that by this stage you are pretty close friends?
Yeah, we were good friends by this stage, yeah.
We can take that down now, please. Looking at other events that you participated in together, anti-McDonald's activity. If I could bring up, please, UCPI 39890. I understand from your witness statement that this is a picket of McDonald's headquarters in Finchley on the 16th of October 1989.
Yes, and it's a photograph that was taken by McDonald's security and disclosed to us during the course of the McLibel trial.
Right. And we can see that's you there with your hand up.
Yeah, that's me putting my hand up, stop taking photographs of us.
And that's John Dines.
Yes.
That you're talking to.
And I think it, it shows that we were good friends by that time.
Right. I mean, you point out in your witness statement that the body language is one of, it's very friendly, and the look on your face.
Yeah.
Were you leafleting at this event?
Yeah, well, you can see there's a banner there, the London Greenpeace banner. That's actually Paul Gravitt on the left in the cow outfit. There was a bit of street theatre. But yeah, we were just banners, leaflets, and a bit of street theatre, yeah.
I understand it's your evidence, we'll come to it in due course, but that the What's Wrong with McDonald's leaflet, the subject of the libel proceedings, have gone out of print.
Yes.
But is it possible it was being handed out at this
No, so
event?
the situation with the What's Wrong with McDonald's leaflet was, firstly, it was produced before I was involved with the group. By the time I got involved with the group, there were not that many copies left. And what had happened was someone had produced a shorter version of it, which was more suitable for handing out on the street, because like if you hand out a big leaflet on the street, it tends to be, people won't read something that long. So it was the short leaflet that used to be handed out on the street, and the longer leaflet would be held for if people wrote into the group and asked for more information, then they'd get sent a copy.
Right.
Or, I suppose somebody might have taken some and given them out if someone had asked for more information, but in general, they were just sent out by post if people wanted more information.
Is it your understanding that John Dines might have been involved in that?
Yes, certainly. There are actually photographs of him handing out the What's Wrong with McDonald's leaflet, and he also regularly took part in the answering letters, which was when the fact sheet that we were sued over got distributed by post to the people who wanted more information.
Understood.
Yeah.
Looking now at an anti-McDonald's fair, there's a photograph of this. This is at UCPI 39893. I understand, Ms Steel, that this took place on the 21st of October 1989 at Conway Hall.
That's right. I took this photograph of Dines on the entrance. It's like the entrance stall in the kind of entrance area of Conway Hall.
Right.
So he was on the welcome stall,
Yeah.
which obviously meant that he got to see everybody who came.
Yeah.
And I went up the stairs and just took a photograph of the stall. So
Yes, and we can see him there busy with all the material.
yeah.
You refer in your witness statement to an incident that took place after this, or at least around this time, you
Yes.
say. Can you help us, Ms Steel, with what happened? I believe it took place in a pub called the Wellington.
That's right. So I thought it was immediately after this, so after the fair finished, we all helped clear up, but then I went with Dines in his van to kind of drop everything back off at the London Greenpeace office and wherever else it was being taken to, like all the toys for the creche and the leaflets and banners and things like that, all either went back to the office or wherever they'd been borrowed from. And I thought that it was after that, but it may have been another time around this time. I know it was in autumn 1989. We went to the Wellington pub on Turnpike Lane, and he bought me a drink, and then he asked me if I'd go out with him. And I was a bit shocked and taken aback, and also embarrassed. I didn't actually want to get in a relationship at that time because I just kind of felt like, I don't know, maybe I still needed headspace from the breakup of the previous relationship. But anyway, I said no, and then I felt guilty for saying no because I kind of, his face, he looked a bit upset.
Yeah.
And then I just I made some stupid comment about, I never say yes on the first time or something, like the first time I'm asked. I can't remember exact wording, but it was, I was feeling bad for having rejected him, essentially. And so I said something to, I suppose, make him feel better.
To soften the blow, as it were.
Yeah.
And how did he respond to that?
I can't actually remember the rest of the conversation. We remained friends. I wanted to remain friends with him. I just didn't want a relationship with him.
Moving now to London Greenpeace benefit gigs. A little after that incident, so the 11th and the 15th of November 1989. If we could bring up, please, UCPI 39875. Miss Steele, this is one of your exhibits, which is the note of a meeting by Anthony Pocklington, who is one of the McDonald's spies.
Yes.
And this was disclosed to you during the McLibel proceedings, I understand.
Yes, that's right, yes.
And it came out in those proceedings that McDonald's started spying on London Greenpeace around October 1989.
Yes, they sent, I mean, there were quite a lot of them over a long period of time, but yeah, they didn't all start at the same time.
Yeah, I understand. They, crossed over, but weren't all there in one homogenous lump. So it's dated the 11th of November. He's written, as instructed, I left the office at 6 p.m. on the above date and travelled to the new Pegasus, 109 Green Lanes, where I arrived at 7:20. On arrival, the doors were closed to the concert area and I had no way of gaining entry. At 8:30, the doors were open and the door was being manned by Helen and John. During the course of the night, I saw the following people that I recognised from the group. So he notes that you and John are manning the doors at the benefit gig. Was that correct?
Yeah, that was, we used to do it together quite a lot, and that was another way that a kind of friendship developed and sustained as well. Because obviously, like, when people initially start coming in for the gig, you're busy, like, you know, taking the money and what have you. But then after most people are in, it gets quiet and you're still there because there might be people coming late. So we'd just chat.
Yeah, well, it's more time just the two of you spent in one another's company in which you can talk. Just keeping this up, if we look just for interest, at the end of the penultimate paragraph on page 1, he's written, I found that privacy works as a privacy. John, I discovered, was born in England but moved with his family when he was young to New Zealand, where they stayed for 12 years. After this time, they moved back to England. He is now 27 years old. So here we can see that John Dines has been giving this McDonald's spy his cover story.
Yes.
I see that you've got a handwritten annotation there, PBO.
Which means previously blanked out. So when this was originally disclosed to us in the McLibel trial, that whole section was redacted. Nobody used the word redacted in those days. It was always blanked out. But anyway.
Right.
And then at some point we applied and successfully applied for it to be unredacted. And so that section was... this was all used in open court in the McLibel case.
Thank you. I think you've covered this, but just for the avoidance of doubt, after the rejection, were things all right between you? They weren't too awkward? You continued to be friendly?
Yeah, remained friends, yeah.
Moving now to a trip to Yorkshire on the 4th... apologies. Before we do that, I think it is now time for a break, sir.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
I think the shorthand writers also need one.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Shall we have the usual 15 minutes? Is that
That's
all
fine,
right with you?
Yeah, that's
okay.
fine, thank you.
Then we'll have the usual 15 minutes and resume about past.
Thank you, sir. Ms Steele, just before the break, I headlined our next topic, which is a trip to Yorkshire from the 4th to the 8th of January 1990. If we could bring up, please, UCPI 39876. This is another one of your exhibits. I understand this was taken on that trip, is that correct?
Yes, that's right, yes.
How did this trip come about?
Dine suggested it. He said, do you fancy going up to see Pete and the animal sanctuary? And he also asked two friends that were a couple to come with us at the same time.
And I understand this is the same small holding that you went to previously.
Yes.
That he reported on.
Yes.
Moving into January, February of 1990, we can take that down now, please.
There is actually another photograph of the couple that we went with and Dines.
I haven't actually got that written down here, but I'll find that. I know the photo you're talking about. We can bring that
Should
up.
in theory be in the same.
Is it in
not.
this exhibit, or is this just a one-page exhibit? It might be 398.
That's one.
There we are. Thank you. So this is taken on the same trip.
Yes.
And this is the couple.
Yes.
You say. Thank you. If we can take that down now, please. Moving into February. You say in your witness statement that in February 1990, he took you into his confidence again, and Dines told you that his mother had died.
Yes.
You say that at paragraph 134. Can you remember the circumstances, Miss Steele, in which he told you this?
I'm not sure that I can, no.
Don't worry. So as far as you're concerned, within a very short period of time, this man has lost not only his father, but also his mother.
Yes.
What impact did that have on you?
Well, he was basically leaning on me for support, because I remember that when he told me, he also said that he couldn't afford to get to New Zealand for the funeral. And so I offered to lend him £300 so that he could go there.
And that's a lot of money.
It was a lot of money, yeah. But he was a friend in need, and I thought, well, okay, I'll help.
Yes, it's a kind thing to do.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring up another one of your exhibits, which is 39790. Page 3, please, 6 lines down. This is dated I think I've got the date here wrong, but I think this is from 1990. But he says, 6 lines down, halfway through, where he says, beautiful, lovely, terrific days. I remember your £300 to get me to New Zealand.
Yes.
So I'm just bringing that up because you can see that he's referring there to that incident, if I understand it correctly.
Yes.
You can take that down now, please. You also say in your witness statement that just before he left for New Zealand, supposedly, Dines asked for your help moving into a new flat, and that this was early on the morning of the 19th of February 1990. This was a flat on Castlewood Road, N16.
Yes.
And he asked for your help moving, even though he had very few possessions and he had his own van. Mm-hmm. Do you find that odd at the time?
No, I didn't really think about it at the time, but in retrospect, I thought, yeah, well, that's that was unnecessary. So it was obviously another, lean on me, make me feel responsible, yeah.
But at the time, you were happy to help.
Yeah.
And indeed, you did help.
Yeah.
So again, being very kind, generous with your time. I understand from your witness statement that on that same day, so this is the 19th of February 1990, he asked to stay at your flat.
That's right.
So that he could get off early to the airport, again,
Yeah.
supposedly to get the flight to New Zealand
Yeah.
for his mother's funeral.
The house that I lived in was fairly near to Turnpike Lane tube station, which is on the Piccadilly line, so it was going to be easy for him to get to Heathrow.
Straight down on the Piccadilly
Yeah.
line. Were you happy for him to stay at your flat?
I didn't mind. I can't remember. I mean, I would have just felt, well, why not? You know, he's asked for a favour.
Yeah, another favour. That evening together, how did you spend it?
I should actually say in that context that I was living in a house with 6 or 7 other people at the time, and it wasn't unusual to have, you know, people staying in the living room. So it was kind of in that context that
Sure.
I was okay with him staying.
I understand.
Yeah.
He wasn't asking to stay in your room.
I didn't think, and he didn't specifically ask to stay in my room.
Right.
But retrospectively, I think he was probably angling to stay in my room.
But you were happy for him to stay in the sitting room?
On the sofa, yeah.
Yeah. And this is Linden Road
Yes.
you're living at the moment. You've preempted my next question, but again, just to make it clear, now we know all this was completely made up. There was no funeral. He didn't need to go to Heathrow.
His mum hadn't died.
His mum hadn't died. So why do you think he was angling to spend the night at your house?
Well, because he wanted to start a relationship, yeah. I mean, there's no other... Why otherwise would he invent all of that?
I'd like to bring up one of his reports that he submits around this time, which is UCPI 26863. So this is dated the 20th of February 1990. And you make the point, Ms. Steel, in your witness statement that he must have submitted this report between your helping him move on Monday, the 19th of February 1990, and coming over later that day.
Yes.
That he would have attended the Monday meeting at the SDS and submitted this report.
Yes.
If we just look at this just to give a flavour of the kind of things he was reporting, it's about HZN, as we're calling her. Anarchist feminist HZN is known to be living at Privacy with her live-in lover, Privacy. HZN moved from London's leading anarchist household at Privacy, Linden Road, N15, early in 1989, preceding Andrew Clark's residence there following his release from prison. During Clark's absence, HZN was probably comforting the Animal Liberation Front activist girlfriend Helen Steel, and together during that period they are believed to have been involved in some small-scale attacks in North London.
I presume that's a reference to my arrest for painting a slogan about housing on a wall.
Right, thank you.
Which I did talk about in Tranche 2.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Well, you've talked to us about that. Paragraph 4. HZN's move from Linden Road, whilst undoubtedly prompted by Clark's return, appears to have been mainly due to her intimate relationship with Privacy, herself an anarchist but politically inactive. During the last year, HZN, consumed in her lesbian affair, has been obviously absent from the anarchist scene apart from occasional appearances at local demonstrations, and it is unlikely that she has been further involved in direct action activities. I'd just like to invite you to comment really on the tone of that, in particular the tone and the implications of paragraph 3.
It made me feel sick reading this. Not only the sexism and the homophobic assumptions about, you know, lesbians sleeping with anyone and everyone, but also the fact that he's speculating, in paragraph 3, he's speculating about my sex life at exactly the same time as he then makes a move on me to try and sleep with me.
And you made the point in your witness statement that some of this information also you believe that he gleaned on that trip to Yorkshire.
That's paragraph 5,
Right.
which is, it relates to the woman who came on the trip, who was in the photograph. Her sister was in a relationship with
Right.
HZN.
But in any event, it's the stark contrast between his actions and his behaviour towards
Yes.
you and what
Yes.
he's reporting back to his bosses.
Yes.
The morning of the 21st of February 1990, you say in your witness statement at paragraph 139 that you got up at 6 a.m. and you walked to Turnpike Lane Tube with him from where he said he was getting the tube to Heathrow.
Yes.
And you saw him off.
Yes.
So again, you're being nice, getting up early, sending him on his way.
Yeah. I mean, we'd stayed up quite late chatting on the sofa the night before, him talking about, you know, how he was feeling and about going to New Zealand and being sad about his mum.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you're being a supportive friend.
I was trying to be, yeah.
I'd like to look now at some of the correspondence from around this time that he sends you, Miss Steele, singling you out. So if we could look at, please, UCPI 39770. I understand that this was a card that he sent to you and your housemates, dated the 24th of April 1990.
February.
Sorry?
February.
February 1990. Apologies. Page 1, oh yes, it's right there at the top, so apologies. Page 1, paragraph 3, he describes the funeral. I don't think we need to read it all out, but he goes into some detail. Service wasn't too religious, pretty short and simple. A local pastor and doctor made speeches, that's not the right word. 40 people turned up, Rotary Club. Whist drive types, bloody tea, sarnies, elderflower wine. So he's, again, really sort of going to town on his description of this fake funeral.
Yeah.
If we go on to page 2, please. So this, I understand, was a letter addressed to you that was in its own envelope.
Yes. Inside the outer envelope.
Paragraph 2, he writes, Dorothy and a few old friends have been magic, like someone else I remember. So, did you understand that to be a reference to you?
Yes.
Paragraph 5, he says, sometimes even with really good friends, it's difficult to be honest and open. So from afar, I'll not be too embarrassed if I say, thanks for being you. It was comforting to be around you last Monday, Tuesday. Seems I'm useless on paper as well, but I hope you'll work out what I'm trying to say. Miss you heaps. Love, Jay. So the reference to the last Monday, Tuesday is what we just talked about when he came over to your house and spent the night and you saw him off onto the tube.
Yes, that's right.
How did you interpret this at the time?
It felt like he wanted to be closer to me, I suppose. I and was relying on me for support.
I mean, it gives a clear impression of someone hinting at a romantic interest.
Yeah.
In the PS, he writes, I've heard you like reading other people's mail, but I prefer if nobody else read this.
Yes, that's a reference to, because we lived in a shared house, and whenever postcards came through the door, like, you know, do you read them, don't you read them? And it was just a discussion about the fact that if you write a postcard, it's not private,
Yeah.
really. So it was,
Fine.
yeah.
How did you feel again then about him asking you to keep this to yourself?
Well, I didn't think that much of it at the time. I just sort of thought, well, I'd better respect his wishes.
Right.
It's only in retrospect that I can see that it's part of the kind of manipulation about me not talking about this to anyone else, and it's like a keeping secrets between us. And
Yeah. So do you think he knew you well enough at this stage to know that you would keep it to yourself?
yeah, sure, yeah.
So to some extent, it isolated you because you didn't feel you could talk to someone else and say, I think this person's
Yeah,
interested. What do you make of that?
yeah.
Moving on now to McLibel, I want to look specifically at a dispute of fact about you getting followed after LGP meetings. You say in your witness statement, at paragraph 145, that on the 15th of March 1990, you saw John Dines at a London Greenpeace meeting. And you say that after that meeting, Dines called you and said that he'd been followed.
Yes.
And you say that shortly after you got home, you received a phone call from him. He asked you if you'd noticed being followed home from the meeting. You said you hadn't noticed anyone following you. And Dines then said that when he'd reached Stamford Hill on his way home, he realised he was being followed by a man who had seen him talking to Anthony. And that's a reference to Anthony Pocklington, who was one of the spies.
Who wrote the report that we looked at earlier.
Right, thank you. He'd seen him talking to Anthony Pocklington in the pub after the meeting. And then you address the fact that he's one of the spies. So is that accurate? That's what happened? He phoned you and told you that he'd been followed?
Yes.
Then at paragraph 147 of your witness statement, you refer to another incident roughly a week later on the 22nd of March 1990, in which the two of you were followed.
Yeah. So Dines, on this occasion, Dines asked me to come with him so that I could see for myself that he was being followed. So I did that. Right. And we got out at Seven Sisters, which wasn't my usual tube, and started walking up the hill towards Stamford Hill. And then at some point, Dines pointed out to me that there was someone following.
Yeah.
And also, while we were walking up the hill, there's a post office, or there was a post office on the left across the road. And, well, it's in my statement. I can't remember the name of the road now, but it is in my statement.
Holmley. Oh, well.
Is it Egerton?
You go on past Egerton Road, and then you
there was a phone box on the corner, and he told me that what had happened the previous week was that he sensed that he was being followed, and so he ducked into the phone box on that corner, and at which point the guy had gone past, and I think he somehow managed to lose him at that point, but I just remember him pointing that out at the time.
Yeah.
We then carried on to the Homely Road estate, which at the time had been scheduled for demolition, and some of it had been scheduled for demolition, and some of the blocks had been squatted. So there were quite a few people living there that we knew. And the guy followed us onto that estate, and we went up a flight of stairs and hid. And then as he walked past, I got up and leant over the edge of this concrete staircase and took a photograph of him.
I'll bring that photograph up, which is at UCPI 39866. I think it's 39868.
That's actually the one slightly later. There's another one.
If we could, I think this is one of those exhibits where there's more than one page. No, is there?
If it's not, then maybe I didn't put it in, but there's another photograph that's taken from...
I know exactly. The reference I've got, it says 22A. I'm not sure if that's in the exhibit reference number. Because I think there were a number of HS3 76 exhibits. But I know exactly, I mean, I've seen the photograph. Don't know, we'll try and find it. We'll take that down, don't worry. We'll see if we can bring that one up.
So I took a photograph of him from over the side of the staircase, and then we came down the staircase and kind of challenged him.
Yeah.
And then he walked on a bit, and we were kind of like, what are you doing? I can't remember exactly what the conversation was, and I took another photograph, which is that one.
Right, I understand.
And he pretended to be drunk and, leave me alone, I'm drunk, and that kind of thing.
And you say that after this incident you had a discussion with Dines about what had happened. Can you help us with what he said?
Well, I was saying, well, who do you think they are? Like, why are you being followed? And I said, is it the police? Would it be the police? And he said, no, I don't think it's the police. I think it's McDonald's.
And is that the first time that had entered your mind as a possibility?
Yeah. I'd not thought about McDonald's. I had no idea that they would be doing something like that. I mean, we had been suspicious about some of the people coming to the meetings, but at no point that I can remember did we speculate about it being McDonald's. I think it was always like, well, maybe it's the police, but why would they want to infiltrate London Greenpeace? It's not like we're doing anything very exciting. Like,
Dines, in his witness statement at paragraph 96.2, refers to an incident on the Underground. He's vague about the date. He says it's sometime before or around March 91. And he refers to an incident following an LGP meeting when you were on the tube and you said to him that you thought you were being followed.
Yeah, that's not true. It was definitely him that initiated the conversation. He rang me while I was at home. After I'd got home after the London Greenpeace meeting, he made a call to me at home asking if I'd noticed being followed, and I hadn't at all. And then the following week he asked me to come with him to see if he was followed again, and he initiated this whole conversation.
Elsewhere in his witness statement, he actually says something slightly different. So this is at paragraph 123. This is in a different context. So this is where he's talking about management knowledge of your sexual relationship. And he says, similarly, McDonald's surveillance had followed Miss Steel and possibly me to the same address in Finsbury Park on a number of occasions around the same time. He means late 1990, and had served Miss Steel with a writ outside my address.
Yeah,
so
that's actually a different address. That he calls it Finsbury Park. It's actually Burgoyne Road in Haringey, but it was near to Finsbury Park.
But in any event, there he seems to be acknowledging that he did know that you and he were followed.
Yes.
He suggests... Sorry.
No, go on. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, in this extract, he suggests that you were followed home alone.
No.
And that was going to be my next question. Did you ever tell him that had happened to you?
No.
So as far as you're aware, you didn't know
I
that
certainly
had
didn't
happened.
notice.
Right. Bob Lambert, also in evidence yesterday, referred to John Dines telling him he'd
Yes,
been
I
followed.
did notice that,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
We'll move on now to Dines' poll tax arrest on Saturday, the 31st of March, 1990. Now, I understand from your witness statement that, save for a brief conversation that you had outside the Ministry of Defence, where you had a conversation about why you were uncoupling some chains.
Yes.
You
to stop
weren't-
people being tripped up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually refers to that in his Mr. Sweeney and I article, but not...
Right.
He doesn't reference you.
No.
But apart from that encounter, you weren't with him on the day.
No. He was in the Hackney anti-poll tax group, and I was in the Tottenham against the poll tax group.
So he was with his cohorts from the Hackney anti-poll tax group that day. You say that after those events on the 31st of March. You next saw him on the 1st of April, the Sunday.
Yes.
And I understand he'd come to your allotment. Is that where you saw him?
I think he probably phoned me up and
Right.
said he wanted to see me, I think. And then I said, well, I'm going to my allotment. Do you want to come down there, I suppose?
Okay. When you saw him, did he have visible injuries?
Not that I remember. I do remember him talking about having been beaten up by the police.
Can you just tell us briefly, Miss Steel, just what he said to you about that?
He said something about, I think he'd been intervening in someone being arrested or hit by the police. To be honest, whatever's in my statement is probably a better recollection than what I'm going to say now. But I do remember that he talked about having been beaten up by the police, and that when I read the poll tax booklet that he wrote the chapter of, that accorded with my memory of what he told me when he met me at my allotment.
Right. That was, again, going to be my next question, but that's interesting because I wanted to ask you, this account that he writes, it's titled Mr. Sweeney and Me.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you if you understood the purpose for which he wrote that. And when he wrote it.
I don't know when he wrote it. I mean, I think it was fairly soon after the events. Right. I can't remember where the idea of the booklet came from. I just remember him talking about having written a chapter for it, and that he showed me the booklet and his chapter.
And what, as far as you understood it, was the purpose of that booklet?
I think it was a collection of people's accounts of what happened on the day at the poll tax demonstration, which obviously he had been attacked by the police, and as a consequence, disorder broke out, and a lot of people were injured, and I think people kind of wanted to process what had happened.
Yeah. He provides the account that you refer to in this booklet. I'll read it just very quickly. This is at UCPI 34353. It's at page 17. And he says, as I lay face down in a gutter in Whitehall with a policeman's boot in the back of my neck and his two mates wrenching my arms from my shoulders, their macho sergeant bawling instructions on how best to incapacitate me, I briefly pondered my wrongdoing in trying to prevent, it's page 17, don't worry too much because I can read it out from here, but trying to prevent someone I'd never met before from being arrested for shouting his opposition to the poll tax. The kick in the forehead diverted my thoughts, and I was bundled into the police van, manacled so tightly my hands went blue, then dragged across the road, booted and thumped as I was pushed into a second van. So, broadly speaking, is that what he told you at the allotment?
Something to that effect. I know that I was concerned about him when he told me that he'd been beaten up, and I think I said something about getting his injuries checked out, but he kind of made light of it and sort of was just like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, fine.
He'll be all right, sort of thing.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. He didn't seem too bothered. I just want to look quickly at some of the SDS documents relating to this incident. There's a small bundle of documents relating to his arrest at the poll tax demonstration. This is at MPS 0526796. And on page 2, there's a minutes from Chief Superintendent Les Willingale on the 3rd of April 1990 to Commander Ops. And that's it. And in the first paragraph to Commander Operations, he says, as discussed, DS Dines was arrested on the 31st of March 1990 during the All Britain Poll Tax Anti-Federation in central London, receiving injuries to his head, groin and back in the process. So if we go on to page 3, so he's clear that he was injured during the arrest. Page 3, there's a minute from Commander Ops DG Gunn. Penultimate paragraph, he says, I have fully briefed Chief Superintendent C on that action and given explicit directions regarding the personal safety of DS Dines and the protection of his undercover role. At present, oh no, sorry, I've read the wrong bit. It's the bit under that. He says, you will know that DS Dines received minor injuries during his arrest, but he has now recovered and no lasting damage is anticipated. So again, he's clear that he was injured during the arrest, which obviously this is a very brief preface, but that accords with what he told you.
Yep.
Dines, in his witness statement, this is at paragraph 139.2, he says this about the Mr. Sweeney account. He says, I recognise the account available online. I wrote it. I may have been arrested whilst trying to intervene to prevent someone else from being arrested, but the event was too messy. Things were over too quickly. I just recall the tremendous surge with people all around and on top of me, them being hauled up by police and very strongly manhandled into the van. I wrote this account maximising or publicising the fact I'd been arrested for the benefit of my assumed ID and operational objectives. So it can be taken with a pinch of salt. I don't think there's any doubt I was manhandled by police officers and may have suffered some injuries because of that, but my main injuries were caused by the pressure of the crowd and being on the bottom of the pile. So there he seems to claim that his injuries were caused by the crowd mainly, but also the police.
Must be trying to protect the police, but yeah.
Yes, and then if we go back to the bundle of documents, MPS 0526796, page 4, and I'd just like to look at the DCI Gray report dated the 3rd of April 1990. At paragraph 1. Sorry, it's the document we just had up. Yeah, there we go, thank you. Again, setting the scene, Saturday 31st of March at Whitehall, opposite Downing Street, DS Dines was injured when on duty. Paragraph 2, he says, DS Dines was among those taking part in the march when a melee occurred between demonstrators and the police. He was pushed to the ground and suffered cuts and grazes to the head, specifically his nose and forehead, and cuts and grazes to his right hand. He also received kicks in the groin and back, resulting in bruising. All these injuries were caused by demonstrators during the melee. So by that stage, no mention of police causing injuries. And just, again, for the avoidance of doubt, at any stage did he tell you he was injured by the crowd?
No, definitely not.
We can take that down now, please. Apologies, no, we can't, sorry. I need to go to page 7 of that same document. So this is the matter of the marbles.
Yep.
This page shows the custody record.
Yes, which has also got my home phone number on it as his point of contact.
Yeah. That was exactly my first question. That's your home phone number.
Yeah.
Again, were you aware that
No.
he was giving out your number as a point of contact in the event of arrest?
No, but I wouldn't have objected had I. I mean,
No.
assuming that he was a genuine protester, I wouldn't have objected.
No. Well, again, you've shown yourself more than willing to help him out in times of difficulty. It lists amongst his possessions when he was arrested. We can see on the left-hand side, the chart at the bottom, where it says 16 marbles.
Yes. He didn't say anything about marbles to me. I was not aware of that at all until I saw this.
Fine.
And actually, if he'd said anything about it at the time, I would have questioned him about why he would want to take marbles on a demo. It was generally a thing that people thought it was a sort of line that the police would insert into their reports for justifying what they did, would be to claim that protesters were taking marbles on demonstrations to cause trouble.
So nothing to you about marbles?
He never talked to me about marbles, no. Nor after the arrest. He didn't say that he'd been arrested in possession of marbles.
Right. There's some sort of opacity about his accounts. There seems to be some confusion about whether he was handed the marbles, whether he took the marbles. It's not quite clear what he means. But again, nothing said that can help clarify that. In another report,
Before we leave this one, can
Yeah.
we just look at the name, please, in which is
oh, we
given?
may, yes, of course, apologies. The name on this custody record, Miss Steel, you can see is Cadogan, Wayne Cadogan,
Yes,
with this address.
yes.
We know that this was another cover name of Dines. Did he talk to you about this in particular?
He told me that he had given an alias, which was not particularly uncommon at the time because people would be arrested for trumped-up charges and, want to avoid having convictions on their record for something that police had fitted them up for. So it wasn't particularly unusual for that to happen.
Right.
And he did tell me that he'd given that name.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know whether he told me that the day after, but I know that I went to his court hearing, so I must have known his name by then, because I was there in court when the warrant was issued for his arrest because he failed to attend.
In this name?
In this name, yes.
And were you aware prior to this that he had this identity or not? Did
No.
it only come out through
No.
the course of this?
Yeah, no. I didn't know about it before.
Moving on now to his going on the run, apparently. You say in your witness statement at paragraph 157 that on the 5th of April 1990, fairly early in the morning, Dines turned up on your doorstep and told you that his flat had been raided by the police and that he needed your help,
Yes.
and that he asked you to phone his work and tell them he was sick and not coming in.
Yes. Can I just say, in the context of this is that for some time I had been helping with both court monitoring of people arrested on protests and also prisoner support work. So he knew that was the sort of thing that I would help with. So.
And you were involved, yes, the Trafalgar Square Defence Campaign,
Yeah.
you were involved in that. So he comes round to your house early in the morning, he's asking for your help again, and inconveniencing you to some extent, but as you said, you were happy to help. Did you ring his workplace?
Yes.
And what happened?
I rang up and I said, "Oh, he's not well. He's asked me to let you know that he's not coming in today." And they responded, "Well, tell him that the police have been here looking for him." And so when I got off the phone, I was taken aback by that. But when I got off the phone, I said that to him, and then he, I can't remember whether it was immediate but he then said he had to go on the run.
Right. How did he tell you that? In the sense that did he suddenly sort of lose all composure and freak out?
No, I don't think it was like that. It was more just kind of, I think he may be like, "Oh, I don't know what I better do now," or something. Maybe I have to go on the run. I can't actually picture that bit of it. I just remember the bit about the making the phone call and them saying that.
Now, I understand you've referred to his first appearance, his hearing.
Before we get on to that, can you remember who the employer was or what the name of the employer was?
I think it was Kingswood Fitted Kitchens.
Kingswood Fitted Kitchens, thank you.
So he was absent for his hearing in relation to the arrest at the poll tax demonstration. And I understand that was on the 10th of April, 1990.
Yes, well, if that's in my statement, I can't remember the date off the top of my head. But
Can you remember roughly how far in advance of that he went on the run?
No, I'm not sure. So I actually have problems remembering the sequence because for a long time, the letter that he wrote me that is dated 18th of, is it the 18th of March, which is actually the 18th of April.
Yeah.
But the consequence of that was that I remember that for ages I thought, that doesn't make any sense that he went on the run before he got arrested. And so
I understand.
The kind of sequence of it is a bit
Well, let's bring up that letter.
Right.
So that's UCPI 39771. And yes, as you point out, we can see the top there, it says 16th of March, 1990. You say in your witness statement, he refers in this first paragraph, he says, hope you had a real good time in Leeds and Bradford, lucky bugger. And you say in your witness statement that you know that this is actually wrongly dated and it should be the 16th of April because you know from your diary that you were in Leeds and Bradford.
In April rather than in March, yes.
So does that sound right?
While we're on this page, can I just point out that he says here, I'm off to Derby in the next few days. And in his statement, he says he never used his cover background as part of his... And he was born... the identity he was using was born in Derby.
I see. So that undermines that claim.
Yes.
Page 2, please, of this letter, and the final paragraph. He says, such a lot I want to say, Helen, but just can't put it into words. It's been a real long week since on to the next page, saw you last. So many different thoughts, but always the same answers. Have tormented with the idea of sorting this out, but just can't face what seems to be inevitable. I feel angry, sad, annoyed, frustrated. Guess this is accepting responsibility for my actions. I mean, roughly speaking, if he's saying it's been a long week since he saw you last and it's the 16th of April, then that would suggest he went on the run around the 8th or 9th of April. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I really can't remember precisely, but yes, that would be about right.
You say in your witness statement that he gave you this letter on the 18th of April.
Okay.
Can you help us with the circumstances in which he gave it to you? If it helps, you also say in your witness statement that during the conversation that you had when he gave it to you, he said he was leaving London.
Yeah, I think we'd been to a pub or something, and then he gave me the letter and just said, read it when you get home or something.
Right, yeah.
But I can't entirely remember.
Sure. But if I understand correctly, he'd been on the run, he popped back, and then he sort of went on the run again. Is that a fair description?
It could be. I'm sorry.
Don't worry. It is confusing. The paragraph I just read out, he's confiding in you, again, feeling tormented. He's given an impression of being in some state of distress.
Yeah.
I'll just read the paragraph under that on page 2. When I left London as a kid for New Zealand, I didn't want to leave friends, home and school. 15 years on, I seem to be doing the same damn thing. Anyway, when I first got to New Zealand, I was schooled not very well, way out in the boonies, by an old Maori woman called Mariana. She gave me this waipunama. To you and me, it's a greenstone jade pendant. I know you're not into such things, but I've worn it every day until now. It's worth little, but it's real valuable to me. It's all I have to give, and I'd like you to have it. You're something else. You're something else I became attached to. Still miss you heaps every day. I wish I could come and say hello again. Must close. Love you for always. J. So he's giving you an object that he claims has enormous sentimental value.
Yes. And asking me to wear it.
Yeah.
At all times. Which means that I'm reminded of him at all times.
Yeah.
And feel closer to him.
Did you wear the pendant?
I did, yes. Even though I haven't worn jewellery since I was a teenager. I didn't wear jewellery.
Yeah.
But despite that, because he'd asked me to wear it, I did.
And he says, love you for always. It seems that he's ramping it up.
Yes.
Ramping up the closeness, ramping up the love bombing. Is that a fair analysis?
Yes, definitely.
If we could go to another exhibit, please. This is UCPI 39772. This is another letter he sent you on the 25th of April, 1990. So again, it's over this period. On page 1, the final paragraph, he says, I too was pleased we saw each other last Wednesday. So that would seem to be a reference to the meeting when he handed you the previous letter.
Yeah.
It made life a lot easier till about Friday or Saturday anyway. Now I just miss you every single day. Guess I have too much thinking time, too much dreaming. They're all real good thoughts though, just wish they'd fade away. Not really, just wish I could handle them. So he really does seem to be implying that he has very strong feelings for you at this stage.
Yes.
The final paragraph on this page, he says, Helen, the thought of you coming with me is too incredible to describe. I tried to blurt out that suggestion last Wednesday, but I'm a heap of hassle. You don't deserve that. Real pleased to hear you have one bad habit. That's a reference to you wearing the pendant. Mm-hmm. Keeping the pendant means more to me than you'll ever know. The reference to you offering to go with him, can you help us with what he means?
I think he actually did hint at it when we met, that to go with him on the run.
Right. So he hinted that he would like you to do that.
Yeah. And I don't think he said it explicitly, but I think he was kind of hinting that he'd like me to be with him. And I did contemplate it, yeah.
And he suggests here that you indicated to him that you would consider doing that.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
And I'm sorry to ask this question, but why did you consider doing that?
To help him, I suppose.
Because you're invested
at
this
stage.
stage.
I felt he needed help, and I felt.
You're right. He signs off this letter. He says, take real good care of yourself. You're a very precious somebody. Love you, miss you. And then the PS, he says, do me a last favour. Send a photo of you, that is, to the same address as your last letter. Please. It might be time for a break.
No, I'm okay.
You're right.
Pause a moment.
Please don't worry, it's very difficult.
Yeah, maybe we should have a break.
Okay. We'll break and let us know when you're ready to resume. Until you are. For what are obvious reasons, we will break early for lunch now and have an hour for lunch and resume at 25 to.
Thank you, sir.